Alright, what's going on, guys? WeBull's back again, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going on with this 1000-year Blood War banner, and I kind of want to separate this into several videos because I feel like a lot of people aren't really grasping just how important and how crazy these characters actually are. And yeah, with that being said, I think I was also too hype on Aizen, so I ended up kind of not taking into account the 100% bruiser that he gets with his gauge. Yamamoto's special move, I kind of miscalculated that as well because I didn't really take into account two different things, which I'll get into in a second. But overall, I do think that this Yamamoto is probably going to be arguably the best character in the game. And it might be close with Uryu, it might be close with Aizen, but the fact that this character even comes remotely close to Aizen, maybe even surpassing Aizen, is actually quite cracked. So let's just get right into it and let's talk about this Yamamoto just a little bit. BBS Simulator honestly is down right now, so hence why I'm gonna have to be a little bit creative when it comes down to the way that I calculate all this stuff right here. And yeah, so let's just get right into it. Let me log into BBS because I'm actually gonna need that as well, because I do want to talk about Ichigo, and the reason for that is because of Ichigo's Soul Bomb, which as we know is currently the strongest Soul Bomb in the entire game, with the bombardment, with the weakening, and with the, let me just move that. Yeah, with the status element, spiritual pressure boost, the weakening on everything, and then the bombardment. I gave him weakened defense, but we'll talk about that in a second. So Ichigo, status element, spiritual pressure boost 80%. This is like a 65% damage increase overall. Weakened defense, I gave him from the T15/T20 skill. We do have bombardment as well as the weakening on everything, and there he gets quite a lot of benefits to his special move. And the reason I bring up Ichigo is because we have to give a baseline of in my opinion, one of the strongest, if not yeah, one of the strongest nukes in the game. Now, I don't want to bring up Uryu's debuff mechanic because the debuff mechanic, even though Uryu does nuke very, very hard, Uryu's nuke only takes into account the first wave. As soon as he pops off his special, if that wave dies, the enemies are no longer debuffed, right? Honestly, if the enemies are debuffed and then you give them like double weakened defense, it's going to be a whole different story. But either way, for the most part, Ichigo is probably going to be like the baseline for the strongest nuke in the game because he also has bombardment just like this Yamamoto. So going into this Ichigo, let's just take into account what he has as just raw damage, right? We have the weakening, we have bombardment, so that's multiple hits, doubles your hits of your special move. So instead of devastation, we're going to be getting that. And then let's take out weakened defense. I don't even want to calculate that in until later. So then we also have the status element spiritual pressure boost 80%, and the fact that we are actually going to weaken the boss after the subsequent hits. So let's just assume that each of our attacks are 8 hits from Ichigo's Soul Bomb, hit for 100, right? Let's take into account the weakening that we deal after the initial hit, and then let's also take into account the about 65% spiritual pressure boost that we get with this Soul Bomb. This on top of that, we're gonna get, let's see here, oh oops, it goes 100 times 1.5 times 1.65, multiply this by the 7 hits that we get, right? And then we're gonna add the initial hit to begin with. Usually the spiritual pressure boost will trigger before the actual hit comes out, so this is actually going to be 165 because of the 65% increase in damage. Okay, obviously if we can put tension ties and spiritual pressure boost items, but I just want a baseline damage, right? And you'll see here with the baseline damage we get something across the line of 1897.5. With his weakened defense we can actually calculate that as well. So this 175, well 165, we're gonna delete that. We're gonna multiply the 1.3. So actually, let me put in the notepad. Pop, bring in the notepad. So it goes 1897.5 without weakened defense, and I'm gonna actually put in Ichigo here so that we don't get these confused. Ichigo, Soul Bomb, and then I'll also put in 7 so that way people don't get confused even further. Okay, so that's going to be the type of damage that we're going to be dealing with, right? Actually, I'm going to do this. There we go. Now with his weakened defense, we're going to be dealing 1897.5 minus 165 times 1.3 plus the 165 because the weakened defense gets applied after, right? With weakened defense, this character is actually going to be dealing somewhere along the lines of 2417.25 damage. And that is really, really high compared to someone like Aizen, for example. Like, let's take 6th anniversary Aizen, who doesn't have bombardment. He does have devastation though, so we're gonna do this times 1.4 for the devastation because it's soul bomb, right? So base of 140 damage. That's important to note. And then on top of that, he has the weakening. Let's assume that we give him weakened defense too. Why? Let's keep this as fair as possible, right? So weakened defense times the weakening. I hate it when it does this. 140 times 1.5 for weakening times 1.3 for weakened defense times 1 point. I feel like there's one more thing that I'm missing here. Weakening defense. No, that's it. Yeah. So that's gonna be the base of 273. Multiply this by the 3 hits plus the original 140, right? And that's gonna be 959. Aizen, Soul Bomb with weakened this is with weakened defense, and you're getting 959. So you'll see here already that Ichigo's dealing significantly more damage just outright with his Soul Bomb, just because of that bombardment with the weakened defense, with the weakening. It ends up all combining and multiplying into each other. Pretty much bombardment is like devastation 100%, but because you're dealing status elements like weakened defense and weakening, then everything gets compounded even further, right? Because it's pretty much like you're almost doubling your damage over and exponentially. Now, when we take someone like Yamamoto, and the reason that this was a bit tricky, because when I'm doing my gameplay review and at the same time reaction, I tend to get some things wrong. And it's not that I'm like, it's not like I'm intentionally trying to mislead people, but this Yamamoto is actually legit so much more broken than I originally calculated. And I realized that after I had already uploaded my video, like halfway through the stream, and I'm like, wait a second, we're getting so many different multipliers for his Soul Bomb. Like, scratch the Soul Bomb, let's just talk about Yamamoto, right? First, he has the dodge hollow damage, so 50% chance to dodge hollows. He has 2 killers, which is good, one of them being trash, but very, very good for that guild quest in particular. He is a Soul Reaper captain, and then he's a power unit, right? So Sprinter, I believe he also got Sprinter +2, which is crazy. Havoc 20%, excellent. Instead of getting Berserker of 60% or something crazy like that, instead they gave him something even better. They gave him Berserker 40% and Frenzy +1, so pretty standard for a character with status elements. For those that are familiar with Love, the last power character, the hollow unit that came out, he actually got Berserker, I believe, 40% as well. However, unlike that Love, where he got Frenzy and Berserker 40%, this Yamamoto is also picking up the status element Spiritual Pressure boost 80%, and if the enemy gets inflicted with the status element, he will get inflicted with both Burn and Weakening if the enemy is not resistant, which is almost all enemies unless you're playing something like IT. And the reason that that's important is because this character also ended up picking up Bombardment, which is absolutely crazy. So if we go into this character, you'll see here shared complete status immunity, so we're completely immune to status elements. Frenzy, Berserker 40%, Debilitator +5 seconds, so the weakening and burn lasts 5 seconds longer, which is good. He also has Marauder, so Guard Break along with Nullify melee resistance. And now we can get into the damage to burning enemies +40% and damage to weaken enemies +40%. Now, I want you to understand that this is multiplicative, not additive. So people thinking, oh, you're getting damage +80% when you proc a status element. No, you're not. You're really not, sweetie. You're getting a 96% damage increase instead of an 80% because it's not additive, it's multiplicative, and that's I try to beat that into the head of every single person that I can. Pause. Next, let's go into his Soul Bomb. So just like before, as we calculated with Ichigo and Aizen, base 100 damage for the Soul Bomb, right? Now let's take into account all the things that this character has. I do want to bring up this notepad really quick, and I want to do, I'll call it 1000-Year Blood War God Moto, alright? Soul Bomb without weakened defense. That's important because he already has weakened defense built in, but for the sake of argument, let's just assume that he doesn't have a weakened defense as the T15 skill, and then we'll add the weakened defense for this line, okay? So going into the character, we have the standard 100 damage. Now let's calculate the damage for every subsequent hit of our soul bomb, right? The 7 hits after the initial first one, assuming that the enemy survives this, right? So times 1.5 for the weakening, times 1.4 for the damage to burning enemies plus 40%, because they will get burned, times... Why does it fucking do that, bro? It's so annoying. 100 times 1.5 times 1.4 times 1.4 for the damage to weaken enemies, and you'll see here that we're already almost tripling our damage outright before we even actually started calculating in some of the crazier stuff, right? So we're gonna get another 30% from the weakened defense. Boom. And that's going to hit us with 382 damage, and that's not even taking into account the fact that we're also going to be getting the times 1.65, the 65% damage increase that we get from the status ailment spiritual pressure boost, which we're guaranteed to have equipped since we're proccing our status ailment immediately, right? This is going to be per hit. Now we're going to multiply this by 7. And you're going to see here that not even calculating the original first hit, which should hit for approximately 165, literally chump change in comparison to the subsequent hits that we're normally dealing. Instead of 165 per hit, we're more than quadrupling our damage because of stuff that's equipped on him. And this is before we even calculate in a T20 or T15 skill of weakened defense. So without weakened defense, without the T15 weakened defense, this is because he has weakened defense built into him, he's actually dealing 4,579.41 damage. He literally has more than 5 times the special move damage of Aizen. Like if I divide this by 959, yeah, almost 5 times as much. Oh my god, I'm so far off. Okay, anyways, next, let's take into the 479.41, and then we're gonna actually minus the 165, and we're gonna divide this by 1.3. So we're going to remove the weakened defense from the 7 hits, and we're going to multiply in the 1.6 as if we did weakened defense for our T15 or T20 skill. So this is going to deal even more damage, and then we're going to add the initial 165, right? Don't want to forget that. And here you'll see here that a God Moto with the weakened defense skill added as one of the bonus skills, we're dealing well over 5 times the damage of that Aizen damage. Now, and not only that, but we're more than doubling the damage of the Ichigo as well, easily. Like if we actually do this, divide this by 2417, this is going to be Ichigo's special. We have more than double the damage. We're literally 2.3 times Ichigo's soul bomb, right? And then if we go to Aizen's 5598 divided by 959, and you'll see here that we're almost getting 6 times the damage of the 6th anniversary Aizen soul bomb. So I just wanted to give 3 baselines of 3 characters that in my opinion are excellent characters, and yeah, just give you a rough estimate of what kind of damage that you're going to be dealing with this Yamamoto. Now this is obviously like if all these characters were 1 out of 5 or 2 out of 5, like they were all, let's just assume that all of them have the same amount of spiritual pressure. Obviously things are going to change a little bit depending on how much focus you have, how much SP you have, how much attack you have, what kind of accessories and links you have, right? But I just want to give a very clear indication that this Yamamoto is not just OP, but this character is going to be meta defining, and I'm not exaggerating. This is beyond meta defining. Not to mention the fact that this character has probably one of the best kits in the entire game. He has Aizen's first strong attack, so he has that crazy beam. He has Aizen's second strong attack, and he has Aizen's third strong attack. Now, for those that remember, the reason that Aizen is as broken as he is because he has Frenzy +2, which is really, really good for proccing your status elements, but because his kit is actually godlike. You have the beam, you have the 960, you have the full screen with the homing vortex on the second strong attack. Nobody has that except for these 2 characters, and that I don't see changing anytime soon. I'm actually surprised that they're coming out with the Yamamoto this strong. Retsu is godlike as well, but she doesn't have Like, her second strong attack is the vacuum pushback. That is nothing close to a 960 into homing vortex. And then her third strong attack is going to be the charge AoE distant third strong attack. And the reason that I'm bringing up Retsu is because I feel like when Retsu came out, she was kind of meta defining as well. Like, she's the first one, in my opinion, to start holding her own against someone like Aizen. We had Nini, but Nini's second strong attack holds her back immensely. Her beam isn't as thick, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. Like, strap-on ain't gonna beat the real thing. That's all I'm gonna say. But overall, I do think that this is going to be quite lovely to see. I'm really hoping that I pull Yamamoto. I do think that he's best in banner, despite his art probably being the most mid. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like his art. I think that his art it's cool. I think he looks good, but I'm not gonna lie, the Aizen and the Yuha, actually, like, let me actually pull up the art. Like I said, BBS Simulator is down, or at least it's like kind of chugging just because everyone's on it. Like, Aizen's art, absolutely incredible. Yua's art, boom, quite incredible as well. I love the hand coming out of the darkness. I think Caleb did an excellent job rendering these characters, and the game style looks really good. Now, if you like to see these types of videos that I just made, like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and yeah, let me know if you like this kind of breakdown on these characters. I do like talking about them. I think that it's fun, and yeah, it gives me incentive to make. I kind of want to keep making videos, but I keep thinking, I'm like, do people really want to watch this? I don't know. Like, so sometimes I like to talk just to talk, but something about this Yamamoto literally said, yo, get out of bed, record, and just put it out, bro. Just put it out. Either way, I wanted to talk about this. Stay blessed, y'all. You have a great day. I'm gonna go to Costco, get myself a slice of pizza. If the response to this video is good, then I'll consider doing one for each of the new characters. I do want to come out with the Should You Summon. I don't want to rush that video because I genuinely don't know how I feel about the banner. The banner characters, godlike. They're amazing. If you're new to the game, you're missing a lot of these 1000-year Blood War characters. But if you're actually like a veteran playing this game, you probably have a lot of these characters, and the fillers are pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie, I am not a fan of any of the fillers. Even if you're new to the game, I don't like the fillers in this banner because I feel like they provide very, very little value in terms of a progression. If for collectors, cool, I understand people want to collect, but it's exactly what I was talking about. Like, you'll see these, this is why I don't want you guys summoning on these 1000-year Blood War reruns, because you're gonna get the reruns in the banners themselves, right? Okay, but that's a topic for a whole other video. That's gonna be in the Should You Summon. I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys grind. I'll catch up with me. Stay blessed, like, comment, and subscribe if you hope y'all enjoyed this video. And yeah, I guess I'll see y'all next one. Peace. Appreciate you guys staying till the end. I know I feel like I'm dragging it out. I'm not trying to. I just want to thank you guys for making making me happy. I'm that's a whole other story. Anyways, I'm very, 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 very very happy with this community. Stay blessed, y'all. See y'all next time. Peace.